Freddie McGregor, what's going on, son?
Straight up, Captain.
Oh, Freddie McGregor, let's get right to it, brethren. Let's get right to it now. How many years, man? How long have you been in the business? How many years has it been?
Started at the age of 7, which was back in 1963, but we're not old enough. You know what I'm saying? But I really started a long time. I recorded the first track in 1963, back at Cox's Studio One. It's a song called Why Did You Do It? Long time scatter. Why did you do it? Do it. Why did you do it? Do it. Why did you do it? And you know, from then on, I just stick with it and being in there. And in fact, Ernie Wilson, Pete Austin, who were members of the Clarendonians, which was a very popular group then in the early 60s. They were the ones who actually take me into Caxton Studio, because we come from the same place in Clarendon, which is where the name Clarendonians come from.
Yeah.
But when I make a little tune, I roll dumpling roll, and as a little youth, I go primary school, you want to know dumpling sweet dipped in a coconut island. That song they get popular in my community, so people used to give me like 3 pence. 3 pence, we call it 3 pence. We used to call it 50. And people used to give me a 3 pence to sing the song, and I start singing it, and the popularity started within my community, and that's how the whole thing really just kick off.
Oh, Freddie, how did you get started, man? Who did you idolize in the business?
Yes, really, as a youth, I grew up, Michael Jackson was really my idol, because you couldn't escape him then. I mean, Ben, all of them make songs that make you cry as a little youth, and him being such a small youth, we really became influenced by him. But then when I moved into Kingston and reached Studio 113 Brentford Road, then we really go walk up on the big guns. Daddy Alton Ellis, you know, Ken Booth, John Ward, F-Tones, just name it. Everyone was there, you know. In fact, Babandi is still in my memory today, one of the artists that I remember very, very well from them. I always say, well, I love one day my bro can sing like Babandi. Because Babandi's songbook as an album still, in my mind, is one of the greatest albums to have come out of Jamaica. And those were some of the people who really inspired me greatly too. Because as a youth, I always say, when I grew up, I love that wicked singer like one of them people. So,
ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, we're talking to Freddie McGregor here at WAS Radio. Freddie, name for us some of the icons you worked with throughout your career.
Well, after Studio One, really, because I stayed at Studio One for many, many, many years. Even after most of the earlier artists left, I was still there, and we became like the senior people there at the time. Sugar Minor was one of them article artists that were there. Johnny Osborne, Jennifer Lauer, we were the people after a while who became the new Studio One artists during that era. And, you know, we enjoyed it. So Jackie Mituri was still there even after Scatterlight. And Asmode, Leroy Siblings still played some bass here and there. But after that, we joined a group called Soul Syndicate Band. And Urchina Smith, the guitar player, who is still one of to me, one of the greatest musicians we have out of Jamaica, and songwriter as well. Because if you notice, on his Masterpiece CD, we recorded 2 tracks written by Chinna. One is Harvest Uptown, and the other one is the other track there, I Feel Secure, Praising Jah More and More. Those are 2 tracks written by Chinna. But those are some of the people who also inspire me, and I look up to them, because when I first went on tour, it was with Soul Syndicate Band, and Chinna was the band lead, and you know, went to California, and we spent like 2 months out there, and those were great experiences for me. And from there on, Generation Gap Band was my next band, and we became the #1 dance and show band in Jamaica. We used to have to do the top 30, whatever it was, whether I was Mighty Sparrow, Spinners, OG, Stylistics, whoever it was. I used to have to sing them songs and sing them, make them sound good. I'll try better them, you know. And as you know, you have Afro Belfoot pants, and people say, well, you can sing with it.
Freddie, I was born a winner, a very big hit for you. Now we assume that that idea came from there directly. I was born a loser.
Yeah, I was born a loser. Became a big favorite of many people. That was a #1 record in Jamaica at some point. But when the concept came up in my head to do the Jamaican Classic series, it was at a time where the music was kind of going through a great struggle to, and you know, direction seemed really difficult to be found. And I thought it would be a good idea to bring back some of the older Jamaican material in a modern way, fresh recording, clean sound, and what have you. So we embarked on the first Jamaican Classic project, and Let Him Try became a very big single from that album. And then, of course, yeah, but the vibe really became strong, and people wanted to know whether I was going to do a second volume. I didn't intend to do a second one, but the Japanese people demanded a second volume, and that's when we came up with Winner. You know, we started to think about the songs now that we could use for the second one, and I was born a winner. And I said, well, we're a loser, you know, we're winners, so watch ya. I was born a winner, and you know, as it turned out, that became another big record, and you know, kept going on and on and on.
Now, Freddie, would you agree that the music has changed drastically, or have we lost originality? Have we lost, you know, our talent to produce Has computerized music taken over for the better or for the worse? What are your views?
Just as a result of the times that we are in, you know? We're in a different time, modern time. Everything become more technological. CDs, everything. Even in terms of studio, the equipment that we use these days are high-tech digital equipment. And the way the youth are vibing now too, you know, it's not like our generation. The average youth on the street today don't pass you and say good morning or good evening anymore. And we as youth, we grow up having to do that, because if you pass and you don't say good evening to Sir John down the road, and go and tell your mother she might spank you.
Right.
And those are things that's been instilled in us, and some of us still grow with those in our minds up to today. But when I write music, or when I approach music on a long term. I always visualize my music lasting forever, because that is how you have to approach it. I don't want to make a song that will just come and die after I get the first 2 weeks of play. I want a song that will last for generations. So every time a person take a Big Ship, which was recorded in 1982, can say, yeah, this was a wicked song then, and this is still a wicked song today. And that's the concept. I'm sure people like John Holt, Baba and the Ken Booth, all the wicked artists from then, that was their concept too, to make some songs that would last for generations. Luckily they did, because those are still the songs that a lot of the present day artists survive on. If you check, 90% of all the rhythm tracks that are being made today is farmer rhythm tracks. So it tells us that we need to make solid music, that 20 and 30 years from now we could go back to some music from the 80s and 90s. Exactly. So these were excellent songs and are still being played 3,000. You have to make great songs and people will always be interested.
Now Freddie, we mentioned earlier about some of the music that has been recorded today that doesn't last. After a few airplay, you hear it today and it's gone today. Now your son, the genius, is producing some #1 hits. Matter of fact, producing hits with artists like Sean Paul, Beenie Man. Matter of fact, just gave Mamara his #1 hit, Pepper. Again, how does the upcoming artist maintain that creativity?
Again, now for me personally, music, it was a situation where I just merely wanted to get into music and become popular. Music was definitely a career for me. At the age of 7, when I left Clarendon, my goal was to achieve something through music to help my family, namely my old lady and my old man, you know. So it was a situation when I come there and play around and tie around with it. I was very, very serious even at that age. And I used to visualize myself, I go out there and perform abroad for people and what have you. But inside of my heart, it was really to help my family situation as I saw it back then in the country. And I really take it seriously. When I first lived in Kingston, I lived at Delacree Lane out Spanish Town Road. And even in the early 70s, the vibe was speng and badness, I'm not going to easily get caught up into that too. But that wasn't my goal. My goal was to become successful musically. So even time when my virgin them gone create like a badness and thing on the block, I sit down for a while with my soul coming in my back pocket and my afro there they see me. Because I have a different game in view, I see myself accomplish what I really come to stuff for. I think that really made a big difference in my life and career. Then again, at a point when you become very, very popular, you also have to know how to deal with that too. Because you can easily become carried away by that. Well, I always look on it and say, you know what? After all the excitement, you still want to be around. You still want to be this person who people will believe in for the words that you've come up, you put out there through your songs, and you have to live it too. And that's very important. And I grow up and put the hype behind me and put the music first.
Let's talk about instruments, Freddie. What instruments do you play?
Play drum, bass, keyboard, guitar, just no wind instrument. And in fact, on most of the tracks, I end up playing something, whether bass, drums, or whatever.
So I think that's one of what today's artists are lacking.
We are lacking in that area.
We are lacking in that area very much. Playing music.
To play an instrument, it must help you to become a better writer, better arranger, better producer in general.
Are you a writer?
Yeah, man.
You write more audience?
Enough for them, most of them in fact.
One of my favorite Freddie McGregor track is Mr. Fix It. What's your favorite? What's your favorite Freddie McGregor track?
I don't know. It's a very difficult question that I've been asked that nearly every country in the world that I've traveled to. And it's just so difficult because for me personally, the songs that people love are the ones that become very popular. Not necessarily the songs that mean the most to me. Because I write songs that mean different things for different reasons. And sometimes those are not the songs that have become most popular. But then you just go with the vibe, and there are some songs that have deep meaning for me personally and mean so much. that a lot of people probably not even familiar with.
Now, Push Come to Shove, another big hit for you. Talk about the reason behind that particular track, Push Come to Shove.
That people always ask me to, and I always tell them most of my songs when I write is not from personal experience either. It's just as a writer, you just sit down and you visualize things. You write as if it really happened to you, because that is how it's going to reach people out there. I always wanted to write a song about an airport and flying and stuff like that, because we travel so much, you always sit down in the airport for long hours. And it really took me a long time to do it. And I remember I was on my way from Washington, D.C. to Montego Bay on a Air Jamaica flight. And I said, well, better use them 3.5 hours and try to come up with a song. And we sit down there and search for the melody, search for it, couldn't come. And then finally, the idea came on Push Come to Shove, everybody gonna put the blame on me. I wrote it out on the boarding pass. And then probably about 2 weeks after that before we really get back to the song. But once I found that chorus and convinced myself that that was a nice chorus, it was easy to write the song around it now. So I say like, but I'm longing to see you. I want to know how you been doing over yonder. It's about just flying, traveling kind of thing. And, really spend the time and put it together properly, and it turned out the way it did, and that's still one of my biggest records to me too.
I was going to ask you to name some of the places that you have toured through your career, but maybe just better to ask to explain some of the places that you haven't been. Like you might have been all over the world.
Probably just about everywhere except Australia right now. I mean, in terms of the US, we've gone through the entire United States of America, inside out, year after year after year. One of our greatest experiences on tour in America is probably performing for the Indians on the Indian reservation in Phoenix, Arizona. They call the Hopi Indians. I was the first artist to have gone up there. They invited us and we went. No idea what it was going to be like. And from a place called Flagstaff, we drove about 6 hours through the Grand Canyon in the mountains. Like you see them things up on Cowboy Show. And suddenly we just spot a big building about 3 miles away. And as you get closer to it, it started to become more visible. And that was the place that we was going to perform. When we went there and we checked in and set up the equipment, another sound check, very few people, very few Indians. So we started wondering who went come on the show. It's about 8 o'clock. With Indian, Navajo Indian, Hopi, have a super. I mean, today Hopi Land has become one of the major places in Arizona for reggae concerts.
Oh, really, Japan was another interesting tour. Tell us about the reggae in Japan and the support in terms of the audience.
Well, Japan is another nice, it's a very nice country of tour. We really wish people in the Western world would get a chance to see like more videos of the concerts that were in Japan. Totally different from what going on in America. And the Japan concerts, the audiences are usually 30,000, 40,000, 60,000, 70,000, 100,000. And them kids are crazy about reggae, and that's across the length and breadth of Japan. Usually 2 groups tour Japan every summer. One group head out north, one group head out south. We all meet up in Tokyo and Osaka for the last 2 concerts, which are usually the 2 biggest concerts, 100,000, 70,000. And it's amazing when you stand up and look for them people that dance to reggae, One thing I can tell, the Japanese don't dance out of time. Other nations dance out of time. Them stand to reggae out of time. Japanese have it right on the button, and wonderful people to them, really loving and kind to us, and the vibe is like Jamaica. Them dress like Jamaican, one like Jamaican, and the sound system them at Japan too. When them play, them going like total love, believe me. Really, really nice.
Now, Freddie boy, there's so many things to talk about. There's so many things when it comes to Freddie McGregor we can talk about. But we're gonna need a whole year to get into your career. But you created history. The year was 1986, and would you say this was the highlight of your career when you performed in London in front of a crowd of over 300,000 people? Share that experience with us.
I think that one will go down in history. In fact, it is in the Guinness Book of Records. It was Reggae Sunsplash, 1987 to be exact, at Clapham Common in London. It was sponsored by Capital Radio. And I remember that one was one of the hottest days I've ever felt in England. And they had to use a helicopter to fly over and wet up people with water. And as far as your eyes could see on a stage, it was just people and more people. And it was one of the most peaceful days I've ever had in terms of concert and so many people at one place. And them times push come to shove, just don't want to be lonely. I mean, just about every tune we have. We read that in England. Max Priest was on the lineup too. He just had a song called Wild World. It was just breaking through, and It was a memorable day and still is, and in my mind it's still one of the better concerts I've ever done.
Who has performed on that concert?
That concert at a gospel group called the London Gospel Community Choir. Maxi Priest was on there, myself was there. There was a soca group on there as well. Then, we had big records in England at the time, so you couldn't do anything wrong. So, and all the people was there waiting. Freddie McGregor, who coming next? Freddie McGregor. So you're really excited about it, and that was real fun for me.
Now, Freddie, with a catalog like yours and your experience, you don't have to record another song for the rest of your career. If you have to do it over again, and if you had the power to change some things, what would it be?
Lyrically, we'll really turn a lot of the lyrics around and make them more positive. Because remember, we've been through some phases and stages where the lyrical contents weren't exactly what we wanted them to be. But with time and people like yourself and other people who stand up for real clean music, help to bring that around. And today we see some youths who couldn't be more positive in terms of them lyrical contents. Luciana is one of them, and I mention Luciana especially because Luciana is one of the artists, and maybe a lot of people don't know that Freddie McGregor, Big Ship label, were the ones who break Luciana's career big time. We produced Luciana's album called Shake It Up Tonight. That became his first monster hit in England.
Yes,
that was what really sent Luciana on his way. And we're really proud of Lucia because we watch Lucia growing and we watch him career. And Luciana has not changed. It's still the article youth from ever since we know him. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, Lucia come and look for me and mug me up and tears in my eye, man, the amount of love Luciana carry with him around the place. And we just need more youths like that today, with more positiveness. And people like those will help to carry the music through enough more years to come.
Freddie, as we wind down, man, we're going to get into a top 10 momentarily. If you have to do it all over again, man, would you choose this career? We know how this business is ups and downs and all the stuff we face in this business. But the love of this music kept us hanging out in there through the good times and the bad times.
Yes, I don't think I could have done anything else. I've been doing music since I was 7 years old. I mean, I don't think I would have wanted to do anything else.
Having said that, Freddie, what's the message for the youths coming in the business, for the new talents, and how they are? What's the message to guide them so that they won't be misled?
My thing is, me I say it's really good for read the Bible, because it's majesty say in the Bible man will find truth for himself, solution to your present difficulties and guidance for your future actions. And unless you read and accept with a clear conscience, there's no hope for salvation. And people might disagree too, but as for me personally, I can testify. My testimony is that I have found the goodness in there and find truth and salvation in that one. We need that in ourselves and in our souls, because we need to make the youth somewhere grow. Come and see us as a people who preach and profess godliness. And to me, that is what going to take us through the hardest times ahead of us. And the youths them now, I said, this crack cocaine thing, madness. Please, not to youth them, just stay as far as you can from that. I mean, there's so much more to life than them things. And we want the youths today to become the prime ministers and presidents for tomorrow. Our children, we want to see them stand up on the podium and give the big speeches just like other people's children grow up and come do. So we want them to have a clear head and a clear mind and grow to be the champion man and woman for tomorrow. So the drugs thing, if you steal from that, there is hope for our generation to come.
Let me say this, man, it's my distinct pleasure. It's been an honor to have you, to talk to you, and like I said, we maximize your respect. We just want to wish you continued success, and God, we just bless you as my brethren, to you and your family, and may the Father give you more inspiration so you can, maintain the lead so others can follow.
To me, this is really an innovation in music for Miami. And we wish we had more of this across the entire United States of America. Because we need forums like these where our people can come and vibe and express themselves, listen to people are calling, hear the vibe, hear how people feel about what going on. Well, as a captain to a captain, I must say much respect.
You've just heard an exclusive interview with Freddie McGregor here in WABS Radio. Freddie, give thanks, man. It's, like I said before, it's an honor from captain, like I said, from captain to captain. All right. Ready for a top 10 countdown.